This episode is sponsored by independent Swiss luxury watchmaker Ulysse Nardin. Ulysse Nardin has continuously reset the boundaries of watch engineering and design thanks to its long-established technical excellence and its unconventional approach to watchmaking. To find out more, visit ulysse-nardin.com. That's ULYSSE-NARDIN.com. Ulysse Nardin.
You're listening to The Luxury Item, the podcast on the business of luxury and the people and companies that are shaping the future of the luxury industry. Here's your host, Scott Kerr.
Even during tumultuous economic time, cruise lines are thriving. Many executives across the cruising industry have boosted their full-year profit forecasts as they've seen record-breaking demand. More high-net-worth travelers than ever are choosing to spend their vacations at sea, enjoying the myriad of experiences and conveniences that modern luxury cruise ships offer. The cruise market is also changing. It is becoming younger, more active and adventurous, offering access to new exotic destinations and delivering the service and quality they are known for on brand new, elegant and sophisticated purpose-built ships. My guest on The Luxury Item is Andrea DeMarco, president of Regent Seven Seas Cruises, one of the world's top luxury cruise lines. Andrea has 20 years of diverse cruise industry experience across multiple areas of the business. She was promoted to the position of president of Regent Seven Seas Cruises early last year after serving as the company's chief sales and marketing officer. Prior to that, Andrea worked in investor relations and corporate communications roles for parent company Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings Limited. She has earned numerous accolades, including recognition as the #1 overall Best Investor Relations Officer in the leisure sector in the prestigious Institutional Investor All-American Executive Team rankings. Welcome to The Luxury Item, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Scott. It's so great to be here with you.
I'm so excited that you're with me today. So, the cruise industry has markedly picked up speed after taking a major hit during COVID-19 pandemic. Demand remains robust. And there doesn't seem to be a single historical lead indicator in the business, notably, booking curve and onboard spend, signaling any softening. What's been driving its rebound?
Scott, before, we all had the COVID pandemic that we had to work our way through. I would say that cruising was at its peak. It was at record highs. Really in a good position. And while we had to stop operations temporarily for some time, the demand never really dropped. People were still dreaming and planning. And I think that what you ended up seeing is people appreciated the fact that they could travel even more coming out of the pandemic, because obviously, nobody could go anywhere. And when you think about cruising just in general, the thing that gets me excited every day when I come to work is that cruising is such an under-penetrated vacation experience. So I would say less than 15% of the global population has ever cruised. And the value proposition for cruising is so spectacular. And so as you came out of the pandemic, you certainly saw what a lot of people coined revenge travel, where people just wanted to make sure that they could get out and make up those years of lost time to travel and see the world. And cruising was one of the best ways to do it, especially as you saw huge price increases really on the land-based side of the vacation alternatives. Cruising, it's such a fantastic experience, and the value proposition versus a land-based experience really makes it stand out. I mean, everything, especially on Regent, is included when you sail with us. You don't have to worry about a thing. And the other thing I would say is that I think people really put more value on their time. I know I certainly do now. And they want to trade up into luxury experiences. They want to make sure that they're taking their time and making sure that it is the best vacation experience that they could possibly have. And I think you saw a lot of people move into the luxury space and trading up to say, listen, wow, like if I can only do one thing a year or two things a year, I'm going to do it right.
In the past, baby boomers formed the core consumer base for the cruise industry. But today, however, an increasing number of younger travelers are coming on board. Have you measured what % of Regent Seven Seas Cruises, your customers are millennials?
Yeah, so this is something that I have a very, very close eye on because I think we're on a verge of a generational shift. Millennials are still not for Regent, being in the ultra luxury space, not quite the target audience yet, but one day they will be. You know, baby boomers still are the largest demographic that sail on our brand,
Right.
and the silent generation. But you're seeing Gen X really starting to move its way in, and again, as more and more people come into cruise and understand what an amazing vacation experience, the value proposition that we offer, I think you're seeing people coming into cruising earlier and then staying longer. We have a very high propensity of repeat customers, which is fantastic. And I think you're definitely seeing Gen X starting to creep its way in. The great thing about our product too is that we have sailings of all ranges, right? So we have everything from 7 nights all the way up to 150-night world cruise. And so guests that are still working who can only take a 7 night due to time limitations, we have something for them. And then world cruising and longer cruises, you know, we also have grand voyages. And so certainly you need the time and money to go on that type of extended vacation.
Right.
But really focusing on how do we have a portfolio that will appeal to all of the generations. Another thing that we see just on the generational side of things is, you know, this generational travel. So I'll tell you, in Alaska, we have beautiful 7 night itineraries in Alaska, and you definitely see a lot of multi-gen travel happening there, where a lot of times you'll have 3 different generations traveling together, and lots of families, obviously. And so again, finding ways to bring our products, our very high end luxury, to different demographics, to different segments of the market, we need to have a lot of options. And we certainly look at that when it comes to an itinerary perspective.
Have you overhauled your product and destination offerings to appeal to, younger, affluent audiences?
We're always looking at that. That's one of our top priorities, is to make sure that we have a pulse on the trends, and not just looking at today and what our today's traveler want, but really looking, 5, 10 years into the future, especially when you think about the lead time in cruise. For us to take a new ship, we're building ships that are going to be coming, up to 10 years in the future. And so we need to be able to look into the future, use data and research, and say, what are people going to want? What is that next generation going to really value in a vacation and travel experience? I would say with Regent, you've got a number of first-time guests that are also coming in to our segment of the market. There's a lot of people, as I mentioned, who are trading up from even other cruise lines that might have been in maybe the premium space, and trading up into that luxury and ultra luxury product.
Mhm.
And then you've also got, your loyal past guests that have sailed with you for years and years and years. One of the things that we did this year that was really quite interesting is we actually we created an immersive overnight itinerary experience. And so when you think about what does that mean, and how could it attract someone different, when you think about our typical 10-night cruise, for example, it might be super fast paced, 8 ports of call in a 10 nights, so you're constantly exploring. What we wanted to do was kind of slow things down a little bit, get more immersed in the destination. And so we've offered these 10-night sailings with 4 ports of call, for example. But the thing is that you're going to be there for multiple days. And so you can experience the nightlife and the culture in the destination that you're sailing to. You can really have these special curated shore excursions that we have put together that will let you see, again, that nightlife. And it's not just what you see in the daytime, but being able to have a beautiful dinner and fine wine and dining and pairings. And there's so many things that you can do in these destinations, but when you're there for a limited amount of time, there are some limitations. And so we think that this is a great way to bring in either someone who maybe is a land-based vacationer who has never taken a cruise, and kind of let them dip their toe in, and staying in these destinations for multiple days, and think of it like using our ship as a floating hotel, right? But really still getting that luxury service and experience that you get on our cruise ships, but then having that flexibility to really go out into the destination. So we have about 20 of these sailings available through 2026. And so far, they've been very well received.
And you were saying you're starting to see more first-time passengers. Are you finding a segment of these new to cruise guests are coming from luxury hotel side experience, land-based, and are now looking for something new and different?
So certainly there are definitely land-based vacationers who have turned an eye into cruising, and when you think about how the cruise segment in that ultra luxury space is growing, we've grown about 81% from 2019 to 2024, and that's a staggering number. And probably the largest growth you've seen in the history of this space. But you have some very well-named brands also coming in and bringing new products. And I think what that allows the industry to capitalize on is, bringing awareness to cruise in general. So certainly we're seeing people coming from the land-based experience. Again, that value proposition, when you think about Regent in particular, everything, Scott, is included. Everything from fine wine, all of your dining, your gratuities. We even include valet laundry. So not only can you pack and unpack once to come onto a cruise, which is certainly a super convenience that our guests enjoy versus traveling from hotel to hotel, but we'll do your laundry and you can go home and everything's already done and taken care of, and you just go back into your daily routine. The other thing that I would really point out that we include is our shore excursion. So this is really probably one of our biggest differentiators in our space of ultra luxury cruising, is that we have unlimited shore excursions that are included in the cruise. And so you really, again, get to really focus on immersing yourself in that destination. You don't have to worry about anything. We have a variety of different excursions you can choose from. And we take care of everything.
And we're also seeing cruise lines actually investing in land-based offerings like private beach destinations and attractions to give customers an experience that better competes with land-based alternatives. Are those type of investments part of Regent's strategy?
Yeah, so when you think about these type of land-based investments, so we're a part of a parent company, Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings.
Right.
This company has three award-winning brands with Norwegian Cruise Line, Oceania Cruises, and then us, Regent Seven Seas Cruises. And so we do have private island experiences and destinations in Belize and in the Bahamas. And actually, Scott, we were the first cruise line to have a private island experience. And so certainly we can, and we do have these types of experiences on our itineraries that are in the Caribbean. But the other thing that we've looked at is, Alaska is, again, such a great example of where we see a ton of demand funneling in. And so we actually, have partnered with the Huna Totem Corporation there, not only to build out one of the destinations, Icy Strait Point, but then we also, actually yesterday, one of our ships was just in Whittier, where we have a brand new dock facility and terminal. And so again, like, how can we invest in some of the key destinations? And it's great for the destinations too, because again, we're bringing such economic impact to the region. And we're investing in those communities that we're sailing to.
And the ultra luxury cruise market is getting pretty crowded with new offerings. Luxury hotel brands are entering the space with a string of ships. The Ritz-Carlton Yacht Collection is set to launch its second ship in September. The first vessels of Four Seasons Yachts and Orient Express are both due out in 2026. And the launch of Aman at Sea is scheduled for 2027. They're not only competing amongst themselves, but they're also competing with the likes of Regent. With this rise of these luxury hotel branded yachts, where do they fit in your competitive landscape, and how are you keeping customers focused on your brand?
Yeah, it's a great question. So again, we've seen this unprecedented growth in this luxury, ultra luxury space in the cruise market. You do have kind of a whole new segment that's been born, which is the yacht segment. And again, I find that when you have these brand names, especially from the hotel side of the equation coming into the space, again, it brings more awareness to cruise. Because what you tend to see is that a guest who cruises, once they do, they're hooked for life. And they sometimes they'll go on different brands because of different itineraries, because of different offerings, because of different ships. And, bringing more people into the space just helps us as well, because we'll end up bringing more people into Regent at the same time. When you think about Regent, we're 30 plus years in the making. We have been the leader of ultra luxury cruising for quite some time. We were the first to introduce an all suite, all balcony ship. And again, we really focus on what we know our guests want, which is space, which is personalized service, which is destination immersion, which is Epicurean experiences. And so as we bring new ships on, and as we've done so over the past 30 years, we really want to make sure that we're focusing on why people will stay loyal to Regent. Actually, one of the things that we just did, Scott, which was super well received, is we've given people more optionality. And so we've done a lot of research, and we'll continue to do research to understand what guests want and what they're willing to pay for. And in all of this research, what was loud and clear to me was that flexibility is the ultimate luxury. And so we've created two different fare types. They're both all-inclusive fare types. One is the all-inclusive cruise vacation, which comes with everything that we include on board, but you make your own travel arrangements to and from the cruise. And the second one is, we'll take care of your flights. We'll take care of your transfers. We actually just included an executive chauffeur service through Blacklane as a brand new inclusion for Regent. And so again, providing our customers that flexibility of choice and how they want to build their vacation experience is key. And that's certainly what we continue to hear over and over again. So as we say, why Regent, we'll continue to look for ways to really hone in on what guests value and what we can do to evolve our product to meet the needs of those guests.
So last year, you were promoted to the position of president of Regent Seven Seas Cruises, elevated from Regent's chief sales and marketing officer. You're also Regent Seven Seas' first female president in its 30-year history. When you stepped into the role as president, where did you see areas of strength in your business that you wanted to capitalize on, and other untapped areas where there is potential to stimulate growth?
Yeah, so it is just an honor for me to lead Regent Seven Seas Cruises, and especially to be the first woman to take the helm as president in our 30 plus year history. The Regent team is so special, and I always knew it was a fantastic team, but until I actually became a part of it, and really started building connections, not only with our crew on board and our guests and our shoreside team around the world, it was clear to me that this is a very special family, and that's something that our guests love. They love to feel a part of the Regent family. We take care of them and care for them as if they are family. And so to be able to, again, take the helm of a brand that is just so well recognized and beloved by guests is just, I'm the luckiest person in the world. And I'm super proud to be a part of the brand. One of the things that I saw coming into the role, where I thought we had a good potential growth opportunity, was partnerships. And so again, being a smaller brand, we have 6 ships in our fleet. Partnerships are really key in terms of how can we get in front of new affluent audiences and introduce them to our brand, and really align with other brands that have the same ethos as we do. So one of the things that we developed, there's a couple partnerships that we have in play. One is with Fabergé, one is with the Global Hotel Alliance, and then most recently we have our biggest partnership to date with Aston Martin Formula One Aramco team, and it's been just such a thrilling ride to be a part of that partnership. When you think about what can we do with partnerships, so not only do we find ways where we can really speak to each other's guests and bring them into our family as well, we actually want to bring experiences to our guests, because again, that's what people are looking for, those personalized, those exclusive experiences. And so one of the key elements of the Aston Martin partnership is that we have a spotlight sailing. And this is a sailing where we bring on board a former Formula One driver. So we have Pedro de la Rosa, and he is going to come on board next year and host a unique sailing on board one of our ships that will really immerse our luxury travelers not only into ultra luxury cruising, but that high performance Grand Prix racing experience.
Right.
So we've curated some very special shoreside experiences for this voyage. There will be a replica Aston Martin Aramco race car that will be on board the ship and a driving simulator. So that'll be something that'll be super fun for the guests. But again, when you think about in the destinations, how do we tie in some of these experiences as we travel around the world? And on this particular cruise, there's a lot that we can do. For example, we'll be in Monte Carlo, which is obviously a highlight of the sailing, where guests can immerse themselves in the glamour of Monte Carlo, and then also, really kind of look at how racing and the history of racing has really developed and the history there. And having Pedro, along for the ride, pun intended, certainly will give you that very exclusive, different type of experience that you just can't get anywhere else.
One of the challenges that's been at the forefront since serving as president is the economy. The U.S. economy has been teetering between a soft landing and a recession. We're starting to see a tighter consumer spending environment, especially in the luxury goods sector. Some brands focused on aspirational consumers are taking a hit as a result, while those luxury brands catering to a more well-off clientele are continuing to perform well. How has this murky picture of the national economy impacted your product offerings, itineraries, and marketing?
So in the cruise space, as a global operator, I would say the cruise space and region in particular is extremely resilient. There's always different challenges, not just economic, but geopolitical around the globe that, you always have to adapt and, overcome the challenges in different areas of the world. But time and time again, you see that cruise and again, Regent in particular, overcome those different challenges, continue to bring demand and continue those experiences. Certainly, when there is uncertainty, especially like around an election or around just economic different times, there is uncertainty does make people kind of say, what's going to happen in the future, and should I make that booking now, should I not? We're seeing that people are still wanting to travel, whether there's uncertainty for various reasons or not. And we're definitely seeing that demand coming through. And I don't expect to see any kind of big change to that. This is, an industry that's been alive and well for a very long time. And, again, like it's just very, very resilient across a multitude of different geopolitical aspects that we have to weather through.
Regent always finds itself on some top 10 list of luxury cruise lines. As cruise brands have grown and evolved, we're seeing cruise lines taking on labels like contemporary and premium and upper premium, upmarket, luxury and ultra luxury. There are more categories of cruise lines than there's ever been. Regent Seven Seas Cruises describes itself as an ultra luxury cruise line. How do you define the ultra luxury category?
So for us, true luxury is about attentive, friendly, personalized service from start to finish, and that's 24 hours a day. Again, flexibility is really what people are craving. They want those experiences that they can curate, that are exclusive. And when you think about, guests not needing to worry about a thing once those plans are in place, and we can take care of everything. And at the same time create a very warm, welcoming environment and ambiance on board the ship. That's why people come back time and again. At the end of the day, at Regent, we have, the world's most luxurious fleet, but it's the people that really bring that experience and that unrivaled vision to life. And that's what our guests come back for. It's the connection. It's that we don't just look after our guests, but we actually care for our guests. It's heartfelt hospitality that we provide. And that's a huge differentiator between, what you can expect in ultra luxury and how you can really be at the top of that list time and again. the consistency that our crew delivers on board the ship. The staff is just tremendous. And you can't get the types of service that we're able to provide on board our ships, I don't believe, anywhere on land. It's something that's truly, truly special. And again, that's why our guests come back to sail with us time and again.
Regent currently has 6 ships in its fleet. Your most recent ship, the Seven Seas Grandeur, features a multi-million-dollar 1,600-piece art collection with multiple Picassos and the first ever Fabergé egg to be permanently installed at sea. What was the inspiration behind the Grandeur, and why was art of this caliber its centerpiece?
So we know that our guests love art. Again, we do a lot of research, and art is definitely a focal point that our guests enjoy, and they get to enjoy this across all of our fleet. Again, when you think about having it's almost a gallery across our fleet. So yes, we do have 6 ships in the fleet. We do host the most exquisite collections of artwork at sea, including original Picassos, Mirots, and Chagalls. We also have sculptures and glassware that our guests can enjoy. On Grandeur, one of the really neat things that we did through our app is we created a self-guided art tour. And in this art tour, guests can walk around the ship and view different pieces. They can, scan the art, and you can actually discover a film that connects them to the artists. And it tells them everything about the process and the inspiration behind the piece. And so that's been a real fun experience that our guests have enjoyed. We do have a dedicated art curator, and she curates all of the art aboard our ships across the entire fleet. When you think about the Grandeur, again, we had this partnership with Fabergé. And actually, Sarah Fabergé, who's the great granddaughter of Peter Carl Fabergé, was the godmother of Grandeur. And so one of the things in our partnership, and since art is such a focal point for our guests, we said, wow, this would be really amazing if we could do something extremely special and have a curated piece that we could have permanently live at sea. And so Journey and Jewels is the name of the piece. And this is the first Fabergé egg that does permanently live at sea. It was created between our team and their team, really, again, exclusively for Grandeur. And she's just absolutely spectacular. She's beautiful. The guests are enjoying viewing her in our grand atrium. And again, looking at those partnerships that can bring different experiences, that can bring different pieces of luxury to the forefront, where our guests can have something different and something exclusive on board our ships.
I was reading where Regent has 173 new itineraries, including 16 new maiden ports slated for 2026-2027 cruise season. What goes into creating new itineraries that you feel will create maximum impact on high net worth guests years before the actual cruise takes place?
So destinations is hands down the number one driver of why people travel, right? So when you go to book a cruise, the first question you're going to ask is, where are we going to go? And so we spend a lot of time making sure that we're curating and designing the itineraries that based on research and data that our guests will want. And we leverage all sorts of data. We leverage industry data. We look at overall travel tools and different data points across the travel and luxury space. We want to make sure we stay ahead of the latest popular destination. And we also put our cruises on sale much further in advance than some of the other vacation experiences. So I'll give you an example. We had just launched, as you mentioned, the 2026-2027 cruise season. And so these are open, well before you could even book a flight to get to the cruise. But we know that guests like to, again, they want to dream, they want to explore, they want to lock in that next trip of where they want to visit. And so we take a very holistic view. We take all of the industry data, all of our data, and we have our revenue management department work very closely in collaboration with an itinerary planning department that we have. And we look together at the demand trends and again, what people are wanting, where people want to go. How do we bring new experiences into the mix? How do we have new ports of call for people who travel every year or have been with us for a very long time? How do we give them some new ports that they can visit? And so, we go through a very extensive process to go ahead and create this exclusive new season launch. One example, we planned a Japan intensive round trip Tokyo sailing several years ago. And I can tell you it has been one of the most popular destinations recently. There's definitely pent up demand to go to Japan and visit that region. And the same could be said about Iceland, right? We have some fantastic intensive round trip Reykjavik sailings that are very, very popular. Iceland has definitely been a hotspot that we've seen on a lot of people's lists of places that they want to travel to. I went there just a few years ago. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So we continue to look for new ways to bring new experiences, but I will tell you the destination certainly is the number one focus of what we need to deliver for our guests.
Regent is also debuting a brand new ship and ship class in 2026, the Seven Seas Prestige. It will hold up to 850 guests on board and will be the first new ship class for the company in a decade. The Seven Seas Prestige will be the first of two Prestige class ships, the second of which will be launched in 2029. When Regent first started planning for the Prestige years ago, what was the vision for the ship, its target audience in mind, and the desired experience for them?
So we are extremely excited about Seven Seas Prestige. So this ship will debut in 2026. We haven't unveiled too much about the ship just yet, but if you stay tuned and follow this space, you'll hear us talk a lot about all of the great features and offerings that are going to be on board over the next 6 to 9 months. What I can say is that it's been designed really with our key brand pillars in mind. And again, looking at what our guests want. And one of the things that we saw in the research is that space is key. People want to have space. And so we have unrivaled space at sea. So as we looked at this new ship, she's going to be 77,000 tons. She'll host about 850 guests. So she'll have one of the highest passenger to space ratios in the cruise industry. And again, looking to offer even more unrivaled space than before, not only with our beautifully appointed suites, but our lavish and thoughtfully designed restaurants, our bars, lounges, and public areas. When you think of the ship class before her, that class was 55,000 tons and carried 750 guests. So when you just think of the difference between the two ships, we certainly were looking to make sure that space was top of mind. When we're only adding 100 more guests, but we're increasing the size of the ship to the tune that we are, that again allows for more comfort and again honing in on what guests want and what they're willing to pay for. So we're super excited about this new class. We're going to have new accommodation categories. We're reimagining our palatial Regent suites. So our Regent suite on our Explorer class is about 4,400 square feet. If you could just imagine that, that's bigger than a lot of people's homes. And how can we reimagine that on this new class and make it even more grand? Plus, we'll have new dining experiences. And so again, using the research of how the generations will differ over time when you have ships that are going to be in your fleet for 30 years plus, and building them, so far in advance, there's just a lot of different research, analytics, and data that go into making decisions as to what we bring on board and how we bring the ship to life.
Over the last few years and extending into the post-COVID period, the concept of luxury travel has become much more about top service, one-of-a-kind experiences, and delivering more than just the common features of a five-star hotel or luxury cruise ship. How has the Regent Seven Seas philosophy adjusted with this new world of heightened expectations from ultra-high net worth guests?
So I believe that you won't find better service at sea or on land than you do at Regent Seven Seas Cruises. Again, the service level, the heartfelt hospitality that we have across our fleet of 6 ships is bar none. And this could be anything from, the service that you receive in our fine dining restaurants. It could be the butler tending to you in your suites. We've got spectacular Broadway caliber shows that are on board. But again, it all goes back to the destination and the breadth of destinations and discovery that can be experienced on board. So imagine having this ultra luxury vacation experience, but then getting to visit multiple destinations in one trip. So when you think about that true immersive experience that we're really looking and committed to providing our guests, we have close to 4,000 included shore excursions that is really across the 550 destinations that we visit. So again, including that in the experience, having that all-inclusive experience, but getting this luxury service level while at the same time visiting multiple ports of call and different destinations around the world. There's just no better way to do it than to do it with Regent. We also have over 1,000 Regent Choice Shore excursions. So for a nominal fee, you can have even more unique experiences. Think about Michelin star restaurants or helicopter tours over glaciers. But we really do look at how can we provide different experiences. So we have go local tours to really immerse ourselves in the culture and the destination. Observing skilled local artists in their personal studios, for example, in Palma de Mallorca. That's one that people have really enjoyed. We have gourmet explorer tours. So again, master chef-led tours, which focus on cuisine of the region that you're visiting. Wellness tours, another great example of, what guests are saying that they want. How can you really restore your mind, body, and soul, and do it in places that are just so unique, and the cultural experience that you're able to take in at the same time. And so we're always looking for, how do we take the service levels and the standards that we have for Regent, and then make it so that you can enjoy that experience, but at the same time visit all of these grand destinations around the world.
Well, no podcast would be complete without me talking about artificial intelligence. AI is upending every industry, including the travel industry. Advances in generative AI, machine learning, and deep learning are changing the way people plan, book, and experience travel. Has Regent started investing in new technologies like AI to improve the way it interacts with customers, or develop new products and services, and just manage its operations?
So certainly AI is exciting. It has so many potential applications in the travel space, and I think it will be a big game changer to bring more efficiency, more personalized service. Again, that's what people want, is that personalized service, helping people to curate that vacation experience and do it in a way that is so customized. We have just started to use it for some tools for our travel advisors to help them with speed to market, and to be able to stay on brand and really express what Regent delivers. But we haven't really used it too much just yet from a customer facing standpoint. But I do think this will be something that we'll be exploring. I certainly think there's a ton of different opportunities to really, again, personalize that service to each individual unique guest.
So, Andrea, what are you forecasting for the cruise industry? I know you're optimistic. I'm sure you're optimistic about it. So, do you see a day when it will actually surpass land-only experiences?
So the cruise industry is got so much potential. I mean, we represent just about 2% of overall tourism. And so when you think about how we continue to grow and how we can bring more and more people into this type of vacation alternative, that's what really gets me excited when I come to work every day. We continue to see guests wanting to travel longer, but when they want to travel longer, they don't want to stay in one destination. They want to go to more exotic destinations. They want to visit multiple places, but on longer journeys. And that's one of the reasons why we open for sale so far in advance, right? We're open all the way through June of 2027. We have world cruises, as I mentioned. We've got grand voyages. An interesting thing when you really think of that ultra luxury clientele is on our world cruise, we have the Regent Suite that is the top of the ship. Again, 4,400 square feet. It's just an absolutely spectacular type of accommodation that you won't find anywhere else. And this suite sold for $1.7 million for our 2027 World Cruise. So people are definitely looking to cruise. They're booking further in advance. When you think again that less than 15% of the global population has ever cruised, that's the opportunity in the cruise space. the loyalty and repeat rate in cruise is very, very high. People, I think a lot of times have a misperception of what cruising really is. And when they come on board and they experience it for the first time, they're like, wow, this is the way to see the world, and to do it in such, a luxury state. And they come back time and time again. So I think there's a ton of opportunity in this space. We're still a small fraction if you compared the global cruise industry to the global hotels, right? Like, when you think about how many hotel nights that there are, or beds, we're still relatively small compared to the hotels. I'm not sure that you'll see us ever outstrip the hotel industry. I think you'll see us more as another form and vacation alternative that, is like a floating hotel that really takes you from place to place, that more and more people will tune into, especially, again, that value proposition. I mean, just think about what it costs to fly to Europe, to get a luxury hotel, to get all of your transportation, to do all of your tours, to have all of your meals, to include all your entertainment. Well, you can do that for a fraction of the price on board a luxury cruise line like Regent. And again, that service level that you're able to receive while on board, that personalized service, the attention to detail, heartfelt hospitality, you're not going to be able to find that anywhere else. And for the price point that you're able to see multiple destinations in one vacation experience, you just can't find that anywhere else on land.
Andrea, my final question is the luxury item question, which I ask all my guests. So if you were stranded on a deserted island, one that wasn't on the Regent itinerary, and you could only have one single luxury item with you, what would that luxury item be? It can't be any form of air or water transportation, so none of the ships in the fleet can pick you up, or anything that requires mobile service so you can call someone to pick you up off that island. Just lonely you on this deserted island with lots of sand and palm trees and ocean. What would the one single luxury item you would like to have with you?
So my Regent pen and paper is what I would have with me. And the reason is that, having been in this industry for over 20 years, the experiences and the places I've been able to visit, the people I've been able to meet, I could write 10 books while I'm deserted on that island. There's just so much that I've learned, so much that I've enjoyed, so many connections that I've made. I would use that time to really be able to bring those to life for other people to enjoy.
Andrea DeMarco, president of Regent Seven Seas Cruises, thank you so much for joining me on the luxury item.
Thank you so much for having me, and we hope to welcome you on board soon.
That's it for this episode of the Luxury Item Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this useful and entertaining, I would be really grateful if you can share it with a friend or colleague. I would love it if you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really helps other listeners find us. The Luxury Item Podcast is a production of Silvertone Consulting. I'm your host, Scott Kerr. Until next time.